Police officer shot in the line of duty on the Lower East Side yesterday, now recovering. And this is all happening while he was serving a warrant to a suspect that was already on parole for previous crimes, a number of them. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch raised concerns about the ongoing issue of recidivism in a press conference yesterday.
The suspect, 35-year-old Edwin Rivera, is a career criminal, a convicted felon with multiple priors for gun possession and narcotics. He has been on parole 4 times, and he is actually on parole today. So the real question here is this: why was this individual out of jail and in a position to shoot our officers?
And joining us now is CBS News law enforcement contributor and former deputy commissioner with the NYPD, Mr. Richard Esposito. Richard, good to have you with us. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good morning.
I think anybody with an IQ over 5 listens to this and sees this gentleman with these previous records, some of them including having firearms, and probably says to themselves, if I ever got picked up on the street with a gun, something tells me no matter who I am, I would be probably put in jail. How is a person like this out after all of this, these dings on his record, again, that some include having involving a weapon?
You know, recidivism is a small number of people with a really huge impact on violence in the city. And in fact, the problem begins in many ways shortly after arrest. Once they get into the court system, we don't even actually know the full extent of how many recidivists on the street due to the deals and discretion that take place in what is a strained court system. But whether it's probation, parole, one of the most effective weapons the city has had has been the gun violence task force. What it does is try to get all of these past patterns in a way that when you present it to a prosecutor, to say, look, there is no way this person should be out on the street, and build the strongest case. And that's the best tool the city has had.
The commissioner wrote an op-ed in the New York Post just last month saying there was, quote, an unacceptable increase in the number of people arrested 3 times or more within the same year. Now, she blames the changes to the criminal justice law. But how does bail reform work? And is it the only thing to really blame here as we talk about recidivism and a lot of these violent criminals being let back out on the streets?
Bail reform is one reason, and you don't want to overstate it. It's real, but you don't want to overstate it. Another reason is the kind of plea bargain deals that take place, the sealed records so you don't even know. And the reality is people who commit crimes, many of them tend to commit crimes again. So the issues that we have not addressed, and they were being addressed, the gun violence task force had just begun to figure out this whole patchwork system of diversion of young people. It doesn't really work. What would be an effective way to divert people before they get to this point? And what would be an effective way in the jails to get us to a reentry system? Neither of these pieces of the puzzle are working. So this all leads up to people coming out and committing more crimes.
Chauncey Parker was the deputy mayor of New York City Public Safety. He stepped down Monday night. He led lots of efforts to end gun violence and gun crime in the city. His departure now amid all of this turmoil with the mayor. How is this going to impact public safety in your eyes?
It's a serious loss. Now, the mayor has put someone in place in an effort to stop that gap. But Chauncey's level of experience and the stature he has, this is more than 12 federal agencies were involved. So it's going to take a little time to get back up to speed. And this diversion effort that I spoke of, that was just getting underway. So whether they get there or not, it's going to be a challenge for the person who's stepping into Chauncey's role, a real challenge.
I mean, how difficult is it? You know, you hear the mayor constantly say, I'm innocent, I did nothing wrong. But then you've got all these high-ranking officials that not only when indictments came down a few short months ago with a number of people that were at his side, and now you've got 4 deputy mayors stepping down on Monday. This has got to affect the process. It's got to affect local government in more ways than the mayor is letting on.
It deeply affects our government. It affects trust in the government. It affects the flow of process in the government. One good thing is the police department, which is our bulwark for public safety. It appears as though the police commissioner will stay through this. She's been asked to stay. She said she'd stay. And that's a really important piece. But, the mayor's, like anybody else, presumed innocent. What everyone is objecting to is the truncating of the process and his agreement with Washington on the immigration things in light of that truncated process.
Do you feel, though, it is putting, you bring up, Jessica Tisch, the commissioner, the police commissioner, puts a lot of more pressure on her with all of this turmoil and all of these things surrounding the mayor? It
does put a lot of pressure on her. Police commissioners always have a lot of pressure on them. They run 54,000 people. It will raise issues when we get to the issue of how do we handle the immigration issue, the deportation and immigration issue. There'll be issues there for the police. And we'll have to see what the mayor attempts to get the police department to do and how Commissioner Tisch handles that. I think she'll do a good job with it, but we'll see.
It'll also be very interesting to see what rulings come down from this court appearance today for the mayor. Richard, thank you. Good to talk with you as always. Our CBS News law enforcement contributor Richard Esposito, who joins us each and every week for his expertise. Richard, thank you. For all of our conversations, you can go to the web. You can catch them there at cbsnewyork.com.